That is more to the front.
On the left side.
It's because I'm only doing biceps curls on one side.
Could I just ask you to do a big clap?
Surprised you didn't pick up your stomach rumbling as well.
I'm actually thinking it's not that bad.
Please, can you introduce yourself, your role and your team?
My role, I'm not sure that I... Okay.
Hi, my name is Toto Wolf, and I'm the team principal and chief executive officer of the Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One team.
I'm Fred Vasseur, the team principal of the Scuderia Ferrari HP.
I'm Christian Horner, CEO and team principal of Oracle Red Bull Racing.
Hello, I'm Zach Brown. I'm the CEO of McLaren Racing.
My name is Ayao Komatsu. I'm the team principal of MoneyGram House F1 team.
I'm Andy Cowell. I am the CEO and team principal of Aston Martin Aramco Formula One team.
I'm James Fowles. I'm the team principal for Atlassian Williams Racing.
I'm Oliver Oakes, and I'm team principal of the Alpine Formula One team.
Laurent Mekies, team principal, Visa Cash App Racing Bulls.
My name is Andrea Stella. I'm team principal of the McLaren Formula One team.
My name's Jonathan Wheatley. I'm the team principal at Stake F1 team Kick Sauber.
Do you have a nickname?
Do I have a nickname?
None that I'm aware of.
George Clooney, but it's for the coffee.
No, Toto is my real name.
I probably do, but no one says it to me.
I don't have a nickname that I'm aware of.
Mr. Wheatley.
My nickname is JV, which, as you probably imagine where that came from, just shortening of my name.
Ollie, yeah.
Andy, instead of Andrew.
Not very exciting, yeah.
Who are your drivers this season and what are their greatest strengths?
My drivers this season are Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan.
My drivers for this season are Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri.
Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll.
Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz.
Kimi Antonelli and George Russell.
Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton.
Esteban Ocon and Ollie Beerman.
We have Nico Hulkenberg, who brings with him tremendous experience and a proven speed. And we have Gabriel Bortoleto, who's an exciting new talent into Formula One, who's brought a new life and energy to the team.
They've both got great experience and provide superb feedback.
Two drivers very focused, dedicated and quick. I'm really convinced that we'll have a very good work all together with the team and a very good team spirit.
I'm looking forward to working with them because both of them are very young. George a little bit more experienced and Kimi brand new into Formula One, and that combination is something that excites us. And the greatest strength, hopefully, is speed.
They're both incredibly fierce in the car. They've experienced top-tier championship teams and know what it takes to be able to win a race.
Lando is very quick, very spontaneous, I would say, and that's why we all love him. And Oscar is very quick and quite chilled, and that's why we all love him.
Pierre was amazing under pressure last year, particularly the second half of the season. We're fighting for P6. He's been a bit of a team leader, I think you could say. Jack, just getting to know him. What's his strengths? I guess blocking out noise at the moment, given the hot topics.
Ollie being a rookie, but has driven with the team for a few events. He's really positive. He's of course very, very fast. Esteban, he's a race winner. He's a podium finisher. Scored so many points. His determination's really good. His work ethic's amazing. So I think it's really a good combination.
I think as a team principal, you want to have drivers who you believe can deliver, but also who you get on with. 24 races, it's a long time together. I think I'm just genuinely looking forward to have both sides of the garage working together.
Getting the performance out of the drivers, getting the most out of the drivers, providing an environment where they can thrive and perform at their very best. It's one of the most exciting parts of being a team principal in Formula One.
What 3 words would sum up your approach to this season?
Success, enjoy, and passion.
Focus, positivity, and development.
Strategy, objective, and teamwork.
Humility, humility, humility.
You listen, you learn, you lead.
Learning, growing, preparing.
Perfection, intense, because the competition is going to be hugely intense. And I think the third word I'm going to use is passion.
Foundations, future. happiness.
We have a motto, and it's a bit more than 3 words. It's performance obsessed, no blame, no nonsense. Everything we do, we try to make sure that we obey to these 3 statements.
I like that. That was 3 phrases. That's good.
Could joke and say surviving till Spa. Rise high is 2 words. That was our DJ at the launch. Yeah, I guess a bit of mix of those. I'm going to get in trouble for that.
You've known your drivers a while. Do you have a favourite nickname for either of them?
Charlot and Lulu.
We'll take that.
Oscar, I call Oscar Roger Dodger, and I'm not exactly sure where that comes from.
Well, I know Nico's nickname is the Hulk, but no, I don't have personal nicknames for the drivers at this point.
Kimi and George.
Lance and Fernando?
Not really. My daughter says Jack's cute, but she's only 5. I think she just thinks he's her friend.
Not for our current drivers, I'm sure we can come up with them pretty quickly. We had a princess for our last year's star driver, Nico.
I don't have nicknames for our drivers. I think the world has called them, I'm really confused on this. I thought it was Carbon, then it came Carbonara, then it became Carbono. So I'm unsure where it now resolves, but obviously that's a joint nickname.
What led you to working in F1?
You know, I've had a passion for motorsport my entire life. My father raced, I raced. My intention was to be a world champion the other side of the pit wall, but that never happened. And I think my life destiny, my journey was always going to lead me into Formula One.
My first ever Formula One race was 1981, the Long Beach Grand Prix. Williams finished 1st and 2nd, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to be involved in Formula One ever since.
I've just kind of bumped into it. I was into motorbike when I was a kid, and then my neighbor was racing motorbike, so got to watch MotoGP. Then Formula One was really popular back then in Japan in the late 80s. I just came across it on TV, and then that was the era of Senna versus Prost versus Piquet versus Mansell. It was really exciting, so that was it.
I came to motorsport via the karting first and then engineering school.
I was racing driver, then a finance guy, and then back into motor racing as a manager and team owner. So one door closed, the other one opened.
What led me to being in Formula One is just a pure passion for the racing. I love the racing. I grew up following Formula One through the late 80s and 90s. I was absolutely obsessed with the racing. I raced myself. When I stepped out of the cockpit, I didn't want to get a proper job, so I decided to stay involved in racing and run a race team, and then latterly Red Bull Racing.
I grew up in motorsport. My father still races sprint and hill climb cars. So from a young age, was in the garage, wielding a hacksaw and making a race car. Engineering degree, applied for various motorsport jobs. A choice between Reynards or Cosworth. Cosworth offered £11,000. Reynards offered £6,000, and so I spent the first bit of my career in the world of engines and power units, but I'm pleased now to be working in the race team side of things.
I was attracted to F1 because it's filled with highly competitive individuals aligned towards one goal, which is making a car really go around a track faster than anyone else every single weekend, and forces you to an environment where you push yourself harder than you ever have before. That's what drew me to F1. The moment you hear the car fire up and it leaves the garage, I still get goosebumps today.
You know, I was just a little fan, and that's the simple truth. I was a little fan, and somehow I'm now working for what is fundamentally my passion. And as you know, it is the case of most people in this paddock that, you know, we were just a little fan in the grandstand or in front of our TV, and we got lucky enough to be part of the sport. So if you guys want to try, please do it. It's as difficult for you to find us as it is for us to find you. So please try your chance.
My biggest phobia would be needles, and height's a close second.
I am not very good when it comes to medical check, but luckily this is not a medical check, so I will be all right.
To miss the dinner.
I think we all have something that drives us forward, so maybe there's a fear of failure in there somewhere.
My biggest fear and phobia is snakes. I've been petrified of snakes since I was a kid. I used to check my bed for them or under my bed for them because my brothers used to say they'd put one in there. But yeah, I hate snakes.
Hate spiders.
That's probably it.
Spiders just don't make sense to me.
Sometimes I'm a little scared of height, you know, like this kind of vertigos, I can't go on roller coasters anymore.
Probably claustrophobic, to do like a caving or something and get stuck in a really confined space. I think that'd be the worst nightmare.
If you could work with any driver in Formula One's 75-year history, who would it be?
That's a good question.
That's a difficult one.
That is an easy one.
Which driver in 75 years of history?
I mean, there's so many greats. I mean, if you go back and think about Fangio, how good would it have been to work with him, or Sterling Moss, Jim Clarks, or Graham Hill. I mean, what a great character he would have been.
My hero before I came into Formula One and when I was in Formula One was Ayrton Senna. I think probably a lot of people would stand here and say he's the person that I'd like to work with in Formula One the most.
Would of course be Ayrton Senna.
Senna, I mean, the legend that is obviously Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton is the reason, I think, in part, I'm certainly in the sport. I remember watching him when I was much younger, and I think it would have been a joy just to be able to spend a few minutes with him.
Alain Prost, Michael Schumacher.
Jackie Stewart, the hero of his day. I mean, Nigel Mansell would have been a must-have. I mean, there's just so many great drivers through the history of the sport.
I guess for results and kind of talent, you'd probably choose, Senna, Schumacher. I guess for a fun time, probably Kimi and James Hunt.
James Hunt, probably. He'd be probably great fun to work with.
I tried to live the moment, and we were lucky enough to be with the greatest driver of all time, Lewis Hamilton, when it comes to the records. And now with one of the youngest that has ever come to Formula One, and that's why George and Kimi, this is all I look at.
Jean Alesi.
Why?
I would enjoy so much.
You two would be terrible together. What makes the perfect F1 driver?
In reality, there's not a single recipe to make the perfect Formula One driver. There's been great Formula One drivers, but with very different characteristics.
Someone that is clearly naturally talented.
A natural, easy ability.
Someone that has absolute ability.
Talent, and obviously that's genetic in my opinion.
First is the speed. The speed is what matters first and foremost. So if you don't have the speed, there is nothing you can do around it. So that's the raw talent. That's why these guys are so different to all of us.
What makes the perfect F1 driver is without doubt an amount of raw speed, but that's not enough these days.
What's very important is their work ethic, their determination, and their communication skills.
They need to be a leader, which sounds simple, but often they're in their young 20s when they start, and that's a lot of responsibility to put on their shoulders.
We are huge teams, our team, Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, we are more than 650 people.
They need to be highly intelligent. They need to be a data engineer in their own right. They need to be able to pour through thousands of channels of data almost instantaneously and understand where they're fast, where they're slow.
Extreme intelligence and the ability to deliver a strategy.
Read what the car is doing, understand and read a race, be able to communicate with his engineers.
A driver that is able to engage, motivate, extract more out of his engineers, the engineers around him, the wider team around him, the whole factory, is a driver that will actually bring lap time to the teams beside his actual speed behind the wheels.
Being nurtured in the right way and developed, having had the love of your parents, but at the same time the ambition from yourself, and that needs to come from within.
Not have self-doubt in the darkest moments, so they need to be an incredibly strong character through thick and thin, but adaptable. So I've described something that's almost impossible, and that's sort of the point. The point is that's why it's so difficult at this pinnacle of the sport.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received is mistakes are okay, don't make the same one twice.
Enjoy in what you are doing.
Probably just focusing on yourself.
The best piece of advice that I've ever received is to stay humble.
Treat others how you would like to be treated yourself.
One that I often use with myself is to stay in the present.
Trust your instincts because they're typically right, and if you don't, you'll wait several months and then end up doing what you were thinking at the time anyway.
Think big. Set big targets and go chasing after them. Make the impossible possible.
I guess in kind of like opposite sense, when I was told I can't do it, that made me even more determined to be able to do it. So yeah, when my teachers told me, "Oh, don't be so stupid, you're never gonna make Formula One," I was like, no, I'll make it.
When Jean Todt was president of the FIA, and I had a stint at the FIA, he used to tell me, Laurent, if you do your job properly, it should mean that you should be getting a few people upset.
excellent.
The best piece of advice I ever received was from Bernie Ecclestone on the grid in Abu Dhabi just before the 2010 final race, when there were 4 drivers vying to win the Drivers' World Championship, 2 of which were our drivers. And he came up to me on the grid and he just basically called me over. And he whispered in my ear, "Don't up." Now, I'll probably get a penalty or some fine for that, but that was what Bernie said to me, so technically he should have the fine because he said it to me on the grid.
Thank you so much.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it. Nice
That was
and
so
nice.
easy.
I know.
Good.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Great answers.
Well, it feels
Thank
awkward
you.
standing
I
there
know.
like that.